But first, some eye-popping news in the automotive world. The market value of Tesla, the manufacturer of high-end electric cars, has actually surpassed that of Ford and General Motors, both of which sell millions more cars than Tesla does. William Brangham takes a closer look.
Here are some head-scratching numbers to consider. Tesla's market value is roughly $50 billion, yet Tesla may lose nearly $1 billion this year, whereas combined, Ford and GM are expected to earn more than $15 billion. Last year, Tesla sold just about 80,000 cars. Ford and GM, they sold nearly 17 million. James Stewart is a business columnist for the New York Times and a staff writer for The New Yorker, and he's here to help us understand why Tesla's value is skyrocketing. James Stewart, welcome to the NewsHour. You know these numbers very, very well. What is going on here?
Well, these numbers are pretty amazing. They make no rational sense, really, but Tesla is what I call the sort of ultimate story stock, which means investors care about the story. They don't care about the numbers. They do not care that it's losing. They lost over $500 million last year, may lose $1 billion this year, and they don't really care that GM and Ford are making billions of dollars in profit. The story with Tesla is that they are going to dominate the auto market, that they are going to create the world's safest car, that they are going to take over the battery market, and that they are going to dominate and reinvent the electric grid. I mean, these are all huge markets, and they think Tesla is going to dominate every one of them.
As you wrote in a recent column in the New York Times, there have been a lot of other story stocks and story companies that the story turned out to be a lot more fiction than fact. I mean, how do we know whether Tesla is going to be one of those?
Well, we don't. And most story stocks which trade at these astronomical levels end up very badly. There were scores of these in the dot-com boom, now forgotten, worthless. But more recently, the Amazon story has caused investors to be very excited. Amazon didn't make any money for years. It plowed all of its revenues back into R&D, but the story is it was going to dominate the vast global retailing market. It still hasn't achieved that. It still is not making huge amounts of money, but investors in Amazon have done very, very well over a period that's now going on to decades. So stock investors in Tesla can do well as long as the story holds. So every time you see a bit of data that confirms the story, the stock surges. Like it had modestly better sales in the last quarter than expected. The stock was up 7%. Now, I will say for Tesla, it also has delivered a product that people love. It's quality, it looks great, it performs great, and so far it has actually met its promises, even though they seemed far-fetched at one time.
I mean, I would agree with you, all those characterizations. It's a beautiful car. I've ridden in one. It's a fantastic vehicle to be in. But there have been some quality and reliability issues, and primarily their customers have been a luxury market customers. I know Tesla is now trying to roll out a more mid-market car. If they had those same reliability problems, do you worry that that could really dent their image?
Well, I have to say in Tesla's defense that, yeah, there have been some issues, but nothing out of the ordinary. In fact, I think just in January, the federal monitors, gave it its highest safety evaluation. And one of the stories that people are so excited about is that its autonomous driving technology is going to make the car incredibly safe. But we'll see. You're right. It is the high-end customers so far that's driving the sales, and a big, big step is for them is when they try to expand that market by moving into more of a mass market car with this 3 model at a much higher production level. Can they keep the quality levels up? Can they keep the consumer satisfaction levels up? Again, though, I have to say Tesla was very smart. They started at the high end. They developed incredible brand allure, and now they're moving down market. GM, I think, had a terrific car, first with the Volt, now the Bolt, but they buried in the Chevy nameplate, and it didn't take on any allure whatsoever for consumers.
What are the other automakers saying about this? I mean, this must make them livid.
Well, they won't say it publicly about a competitor, but they're tearing their hair out. They don't get it at all because Tesla gets the benefit of every possible doubt from investors. They get the benefit of none. Tesla doesn't have profits. You can't measure its stock compared to profits, but profit to earning ratio, which is a common stock measure, Ford and GM have some of the lowest in the stock market. Tesla trades at like 7 times the revenue. Ford, when I looked this week, was trading at 0.3 times revenue. I mean, I do feel kind of bad for them. People feel the sun has set on the traditional auto industry, and they just are not getting any benefit of the doubt.
All right, James B. Stewart, thank you very much.
Sure.